With those two, not far behind.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for coming and joining us this evening. I'm never late. Spot on. It's good to see these young smiling faces down the front here too, rather than us old grey-headed buggers. Great to see. Thank you for coming along and taking part in your future. I'd specifically like to thank Anna and Darren for the sponsorship of this venue and for the ensuing 5 meetings that are coming up. Without their support, we couldn't have done it. And it's just through people like that within our community that we're able to do this and then support our ratepayers in getting some changes made. This meeting tonight is basically to explain where we have come from since the 28th of August last year, when you all got your rates bill on that 28th of August, and we were in this very room. So we've come a long way, and that will be explained very shortly. We would also like to hear from you who have assisted us and helped us to get to where we are today, so that we can support you in the future with some control on these jolly rates. And we'd like to hear from you with a question and answer session later on, so that you may be able to help us through some things we're not doing that we may be able to do. I'd like to intro the team who have been instrumental in all aspects of our program so far. We've had, because we are aligned to the Taxpayers Union, as soon as someone stood for council or was standing for council, we had to drop them off at the end, because we're not allowed to have them on our committee. We are seen to be impartial and providing a platform for the next lot of councillors. I'd like to thank the ones that did help us, and there's some in the room here tonight who are running for council that actually were on our executive. First, of course, in no particular order, we've got Sheridan. George, amazing, she's incredible. And Wendy has just joined us now, down the end here, Wendy McLean. Nigel Weir, Wayne Williamson, Colleen Jones, Pete Cowley, Alex McDougall, and Linda Morelli. And Alan Warner, who sends his apologies tonight, he's had another AGM in Stratford. We also have a number of expert people have joined us who are remaining anonymous. Accountants, and now we've got a lawyer on board, valuers. So all these people are coming in and they're assisting us in the background. Because the struggles we have with OIAs, Official Information Act requests from Council, well, Sheridan gets so frustrated because she'll ask some questions and they only send half the answers. So you've got to go back again and again. So that's created a lot of frustrations for us. But we are getting some of the answers. Special thank you to all those that delivered flyers. Without you, we couldn't have done it. It's been amazing. There's a whole lot more coming up. It's a very important job. And some of the RDs who didn't charge because of the message we were sending out to the people who are getting hammered with unprecedented rates. Special thank you to all those that attended the council meeting with their t-shirts on, or even without. That show of force really cemented our place in this community, and we're going to move forward now and make sure that we're around the table with council. When they want to discuss with people, they discuss with different groups, we need to be at the top of the table as well. You've got to get it past us as well. It's apparent that the community is not things are not being discussed with most of the people in the communities. So if we can use this Ratepayers Alliance, the Plymouth District Ratepayers Alliance, for that, that will be fantastic. I won't go on about the cycleway. We'll leave that, but it's very important. There is petitions here, and it's going along very, very well. Some more wheels have been damaged, so the tyre guys are doing quite nicely, but the poor insurance companies won't be. Now the real busy time starts for us. Real busy leading up to the selection. We've got meetings coming up on the 20th of August here in this room, and that is a mayoral forum. On the 26th of August, we've got a sitting councillor forum. On the 4th of September, we have new candidates forum. Then another mayoral forum, and then another new candidates forum here in this room. So that's what we've got coming up. We've decided to keep the existing councillors and the new candidates apart, because I've seen it many times when the new guys have got haven't got the knowledge, the existing ones, and it's not a good look. So we want to hear what the new guys want to achieve without interruption from existing councillors, and vice versa. The membership has been, that's the bar shout, isn't it?
Yep, come on.
The membership has only been put online for about a week, and we've already got 13 new members. It's extremely important so that we can carry on our role in Ratepayers Alliance, that you join up. People are asking, how can I become a member? And it's $25 for the year. So go online and do that. That'll be great. Keep the support up. We need it. When you hear from Sheridan about all our costs that we've got so much promotional stuff coming up, which she will cover, won't you? Hopefully. Good. So to a very special lady in the Alliance, I'd like to ask Sheridan to fill you in on our marketing and our plans forward. Sheridan.
The eyes to read. Sorry. All right. Hello, everyone. Tonight I'm talking about what we have coming up this side of the election. From our very first steps as a new team with the Alliance last year, we aim to be the ratepayer voice of New Plymouth. One or two voices on their own will not bring change for local government or from central government, but a big group of voices will. You guys are that voice that sits alongside all of our messages. Get that a bit closer, is that better? Yeah. Right, okay. Right, so just going back there, we're basically saying that one or two voices won't bring change from local government or from central government, but a big group of voices will. You guys are that voice that sits alongside all of our messages. Last week, as Kevin said, we had over 90 people cram the gallery full at a council meeting, and so many of our t-shirts were on display. That was all of our voices in action, and it ruffled feathers. It was fantastic that so many could be there to support the messages we were presenting and to provide a visual display that we are a growing team of supporters. There's been so much support from the people who are following us, and it's hugely, hugely appreciated. Some examples of our supporters helping us have been shutting down the naysayers and media attempts to criticise on Facebook. In a nice, polite, educational way, without us having to say a word, our supporters have stepped in and shut down things that could have become an issue, and we've not had to do it ourselves. Giving us ideas and information for stories, which happens on a regular basis, giving us information about things we need to look into, walking the streets with hundreds or thousands of flyers, sharing our big stories on Facebook to 30,000 people in a few days, and that's happened several times. We've really needed to get messages out. People on email letting us know how many people they've spoken to about us and how they have shared our stories. People have paid to print our flyers so they can deliver more of them in their own neighbourhood. People who have never done submissions made sure they got those sent away this year, so we had a voice about those topics. People have stood on the side of the road handing out flyers in horrible weather. The boys down here. People have written to councillors or contacted the Mayor and CEO. When we've asked for help, so many people have come forward and it's been amazing. The big group of voices has sat alongside all of our messages. I would also like to acknowledge and say a very big thank you to our incredible volunteer coordinator, Colleen, who has single-handedly arranged dozens of people delivering tens of thousands of flyers, as well as delivering huge numbers of flyers herself. Our messages would not have got out without all that you've done. Our big group of voices has now been noticed from people in other towns and cities who are battling the same challenges with their councils as we are. There are groups across the country, just like us, getting their voices heard and talking to each other about how we get even bigger and stronger as groups across the country. Every single time someone's helped us with our messages, it has helped to grow all of these voices across the country. So yesterday, it was 8 weeks until the voting papers will start being delivered into letterboxes. We are getting very close to having our say. What does having our say mean? It means we all need to convince as many people as we can to vote to bring in a majority of 8 people sitting around the table in the Arnott Street, who will stop the constant spending and the constant increase in debt. We need a majority of councillors at the table who will do things differently to how they have been done in the last few terms. All of our messages over the next 8 weeks are about bringing in change and getting 8 people voting differently at the council table after the election. We regularly have 100,000 views on our Facebook page, as well as our email list of supporters, so we know we're reaching a lot of people. But as we head through the next 8 weeks, we need to reach more people who can and will vote, and we need all of you to help us to do that. So what's coming up? We're adding the 2025 election section to our website. It will have a lot of information to help people make decisions about voting, and for people who haven't voted for a long time, it will help with how voting actually works in New Plymouth. There will be the track record of the current elected officials, profiles of this year's candidates who are running, answers to questions on what the candidates stand for, information specific to how voting works in New Plymouth and for the Regional Council, and, not forgetting, information about the referendum for the Maori wards. There has been a lot of work going on over the last few months to pull this information together, and now we're at the making sense of it and presenting it stage, which is not an easy task at all. Not only are our team working extremely hard to put things in place, but our partners have also got involved to help us to get things done. Partners who actually didn't want to get involved from the start. We've got a few of those. But I'd like to say a really big thank you for all the support we've had from our families. Later this month and through August, we will open the election section pages up online, and we'll let you know as the changes come online. We're also going to be more visual around town in the next few months. If you haven't seen that we have fence signs to buy, and it's a form of donation, but these, for people who live in a prominent location, we have these for sale. We have our current flyers, there's thousands of ones that are going around town. If people are welcome tonight, they're over here, you're welcome to take them with you tonight If you want to take them to work, share them with people at your work, or at social activities, or with neighbours, or with family. If you find you're often having conversations with other people about issues and concerns with the council, we've been coming across taxi drivers recently, and they're dishing our business cards and our flyers out all over the place to people. That if you're having conversations in different places, we have got business cards, again, on the table down here. Help yourself to them. When you find yourself in a conversation, tell people about us, tell them that we exist. We do have a new flyer coming up for letterboxes, which will have specific messaging about making sure people vote and why they should vote differently. We'll be calling on all helpers again for delivering flyers. If you're not on that list and would like to help with this, please leave your name and contact details with us before you leave here tonight. We have many thousands of flyers delivered from August in and around the worst weather of the year, so more helpers will help us get the job done quicker on whatever fine days we have. You may already have seen the start of our electronic advertising on boards across town. This is to get the attention of more people across New Plymouth to understand the issues with our council. If you are not on Facebook and have an email address, but are not on our email list, please make sure you sign up before you leave here tonight as well. If you're a candidate, and there are a few in the room, and you're running this year and haven't heard about our offer to promote yourself on our website, please grab a flyer about that before you leave here tonight. You've probably also noticed we've got a few signs, what we're calling our mobile messaging campaign. We plan to stand in a few prominent places around town, not for too long, because the weather's not likely to be on our side this time of year, but we're looking for people to help us with getting out and about with our messaging. A few of us on the Alliance team have done this in the past, and the toots from passing cars help to lift your mood when you realise other people are on the same page as you are. And this also helps us grow the number of supporters following our sites. If there are people here tonight who would like to help with our mobile messaging, please add your name to the list before heading away tonight as well. As Kevin said, we've got the Devon Street West Cycleway petition here as well, if you haven't yet signed it. And Kevin also touched on the fact we've got the meetings in August and September. So we'll be running sessions for those running for mayor, existing councillors running again this year, and new candidates that haven't been on council. We will remind people about those dates as well closer to the time. And again, any candidates here tonight, leave your details with us so we know that we can make sure you know the dates of the meetings, and it gives you a chance to get your message across to people. So through that, what's coming up for us and things that are happening, we've had some absolutely incredible offers of help and sponsorship. We've had direct donations from people, but we've also had several businesses around town that have just stepped up and beyond in terms of helping us to get our messages out, helping us with how to go about doing that, and we just asked a few questions, and people have just been very, very generous in how they can help, because they're also ratepayers and they're also people who are affected in the same way as we are. So really heading forward from here, it's not just about us and what we're doing, it's about trying to engage with all you guys, and all you guys engaging all the people you know, to actually get more and more people aware that we need to vote differently this year. So, from there, does anyone have any questions? Any questions about anything at all in terms of what we do?
Thank you. It seems to me one of the really critical and key positions is actually the mayor, as opposed to just having 8 councillors. I don't know whether the Alliance will have a view, but again, we could be divided by spreading vote amongst several candidates who are standing for mayor. So hopefully then there's the opportunity to maybe combine our votes or understand how that's going to work to get that level of change. I hate to see votes divided in such a way that if Neil's standing, I don't know if he is or not, but I think we've got to have change, not just around the table, but actually a change in the.
I think the expression we used was 8 people sitting around that table, and that would be a mayor too. Well, it doesn't have to be a mayor, it can be 8 people without the mayor, and the majority is obviously the 8. In terms of who's running and who's not running, they've got till the end of the month to let us know who's doing what and how they're doing it. We're kind of mindful too in terms of candidates running. If there's 40 people stepping up, then that could be too many people to split votes all over the place. I guess at the end of the month we'll have more idea. We'll attempt through our website page to help people with who you might want to look at to vote for. We won't endorse anybody, but we are hoping to provide information or put a platform from the information that you can get an idea of who you're attracted to as a person that's standing. Yeah, I guess it's putting in a vote can become a thing.
Yeah, I was at the Highland School, that meeting you had a couple of weeks ago back. Can you explain again about, some people you reckon should vote for 3 people, or councillors to get the other ones out, or some 8? I found that a bit confusing, how to go around doing that right.
My job tomorrow is looking at STV voting and explaining that in a simple way, if it's possible, on our page, which will have a category on our page of information. It is a complex system. It's probably the most complex system you could pick for voting. The regional council still uses first past the post, so whoever gets the most votes, they're the person that gets the jobs, and in whatever order they get the votes in. There's a, that's what I'm looking for, the quota. There's the quota that you must, that's allocated, but the quota depends on how many people actually vote. So, and that's worked out after everyone's finished voting. So if only a few people vote, the quota's quite low. If a lot of people vote, the quota's quite high. And then, depending on how people vote for different people, votes get rearranged. If they're not successful, they go to some other candidate you didn't actually vote for. It is very complex. Tomorrow, my job is to try and make it really simple as to how you understand how it works. So, and there is information out there you can look at, but a lot of it's not that simple. So we will present that on our page to try and help people with just vote for who you want and how best to do that.
If it helps, we'll be hovering around after the meeting. If you'd rather do it face to face, or we can interplay and ask any questions. Yeah, I don't want to cut across anybody's bows here. Yeah, we've done some considerable work on that single transferable voting system. Now, there are 17 councils, all part of local government they pull in, have certainly helped transfer to other people, get them up over the quota and into councils. And that's the unfair part about it. So what we've done, and we have said, if you only vote for 3, the ones you want, then the transferable aspect of the system doesn't then kick in. If you follow the voting form and rank it, for example, 1 to 10 or to 14, as the voting instructions suggest, then the more people you vote for, the more likely that transferable aspect of the system will kick in. But, again, if you want to come and see us, we will explain it in detail.
Or, as we say, it'll be on our website with a lot more detail in there as well. So, just one thing on all of that too, in terms of the voting papers will be in letterboxes from the 9th of September, but voting goes till the 11th of October. So nobody needs to rush to vote, but we're preparing for the people who, as soon as they get their papers, want to take the boxes and send them away. So we're trying to get our messaging in place for the early birds, but for everybody else, you don't have to make a decision on the 9th of September. You have got till the 11th of October, and you may want to sit back and take more things in, go to more meetings, hear more people talking, and wait till later on until you actually do your voting and understand how some of these things work.
How do we go about changing the voting system? I realise it's not going to be any good this time, but it's obviously very confusing. And if we could go back to first past post, it would make it a lot simpler for everybody. So how would we go about that? I mean, I guess it would take quite a while, but maybe we could look at it for the next election. I'd agree with that. I see Murray Chong at the back, and is that something that's decided by the council here? Do you know?
Yeah, so where the areas, like our ward votes, get voted every 6 years, and how we vote, STV or first past the post?
That's every 6 years too.
So next term is when you're going to get the chance, or the council's going to get the chance to vote on that. And that's why we need a good change around the table, because the majority of voters or councillors around the table, they think this STV is a good idea. But a lot of people just want to bring it back to basics, keep it simple, first past the post.
You basically want to vote for the people you're voting for, you don't want your votes transferred on to somebody else. So
that'll happen midway through 2026, I'd say.
And after the election, there's certainly things as far as the Alliance is concerned that I think we are not keen on, and we'd probably be sort of pushing things like Local Government New Zealand, not necessarily being a part of that, and the voting system, we don't like the look of that. So these sorts of things can be campaigns that can go forward into the future, but it is something that is made at local council level, which might be easier. If we get 8 people in the majority around that table, we can start pushing some of these things. That's why this election is so important.
Yeah, I have a question. Who counts the votes, and does someone monitor them? Does someone regulate them?
So say that again.
Who counts the votes, right?
Oh, yep.
And does someone monitor it? Does someone regulate them? Keep an eye on things?
They have adjudicators, isn't it? They use adjudicators. It's sent up to Auckland, they pick up all the boxes in here, they send them up to Auckland, and it's not just one person in a room or a couple of people, there's adjudicators and they count in the boxes and they count out the bits of paper. I know there's lots of rumours and things, and there are lots of rumours about where boxes get lost, or, you know, is it really a kosher system or whatever, but they do have numbers on the boxes, and they, you know, there is a system for how they go about doing the counting of it. But it used to be done here, but it has changed, and it's not just us that's going to Auckland, other areas are going to Auckland as well.
Please, Cheryl, just at the back here. My name's Mike Morrissey.
Yep, hello.
As far as I know at the moment, it's 3 people that count the votes. So they check it, one person checks it, then it goes to the next person, then it goes to the next person to make sure that everything's done. That's what I learned from being at the council forum for new councillors.
Okay.
I was just going to mention that the RCR have got a handbook out for new candidates, and it's got a really interesting article on the STV voting system. So if you want to look a nosy at that,
Okay.
it's just online.
All right, thank you.
Reality check radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It was more aimed at Sheridan.
Tell me tomorrow. Something that explains it in the easy way.
Have you got a copy of the candidate material that we all got?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just another thing I want to ask is the relationship we have with the taxpayers union. I understand that because of that relationship you cannot be seen to be openly endorsing or criticising or whatever any other candidate. How does it actually work? So again, you can't be seen to endorse us or support us. Can we not, for example, if we want to come in this forum and say, hey, we are having meetings or we're organising meetings, if people here want to say talk to us afterwards, am I allowed to say, please come and talk to me afterwards about meetings? Am I allowed to do that?
To be clear, we are but a platform for which we will deliver your message, or create a platform where the message is going to go out to all the people. We cannot be seen, and I guess the important point is to be seen. We know that everyone in this room and all the new candidates are standing for a reason. And those reasons that they're standing is the same reason I'm standing here. So you don't have to be a scholar to work it out. But because we're aligned to the Taxpayers Union, we just can't be openly putting out on flyers, oh, vote for these fellas. That's basically it, in a nutshell.
I mean, on that topic, we definitely want to create a platform both through the meetings and through the website for people to put the messages out they want to put out, and particularly new people, because it's really hard to get that platform when you're first coming out to say you'd like to stand on council. And just going back to the fact that we're doing the two separate types of meetings, my whole life of voting, whenever I've gone to sessions with candidates, there's been the knowledgeable people do tend to talk over the top of the people that are new, and we really want to hear from the new people, so that's why we're trying to do it, that just the new people can come along, and we will give an opportunity for people in the audience as well to ask questions. We'll have kind of a ballot box type of situation as well, so that people can ask the questions they want to ask.
Can I ask a question, please? Why we have a 10-year plan? I'm up here. Yeah, it seems to me that we're trying to put things out there 10 years out. We've got no idea what the economy is going to be like in 10 years. And that's why we're getting these substantial rate increases for a start, because we are now paying for things that were decided 10 years ago. Inflation, we've had COVID, all these things have impacted. We've got the world's in a mess at the moment. We've got all sorts of things going on. Here we are with a 10-year plan. Why does it have to be 10 years?
It's in legislation.
I realise that, but that's something we've got to push back on.
I'll go back to a question like that one, and somebody else had a question before about how things work. We obviously said before that there's groups of us like us that in different parts of the country that have actually now started to link up, one like us, but they're already linked to various others. Are looking, and we've always been the same since the beginning as well, we're kind of looking at the bigger picture. We're at the low level at the moment, trying to do the best we can with an election coming up, because it's the only tool in our kit right now, is this election this year. But there's a much bigger picture, and that is changing the process. We've been in communication with Simon Watts, ourselves as a group, and we've had response, not official response, but our questions are being treated officially. And we're not the only group in the country that's questioning how things are done and changing the system. And they are actually changing the legislation this year for local government. So there has been pushes across the country to improve these things. With the long-term plan, we've been led to believe for a long time it's set in stone. You set it in for the next 10 years and it can't change, because it's been set and we can't change it. But it changes all the time. And it can be changed. And again, after this election, if we can get these 8 people around the table somehow, then those sorts of things the current plan can be altered, and the next 10 years doesn't have to be how it's been set in stone. So, but the reason they do it is in legislation, and they have to provide a 10-year plan, and they have to annually report on that plan.
You want 8 people around the desk. You're not. You've said that you want 8 people around the table.
We want a majority that are going to vote differently.
Okay, you want a majority around the table of what, 20 councillors in total?
15, so H majority.
Okay. Now, you're not prepared to admit to endorsing any particular candidate. So how do we who are voting know are the people that will represent the philosophy of New Plymouth Ratepayers New Zealand? So we can vote for those people to get your 8 people around the table.
Kevin asked me a question before, and I sort of thought, I don't think we'll cover that tonight, but one of the things that we're looking at doing, because you get your little wee booklet that comes with your voting pack, and you get your 100 words or 150 words, I think it is, and it's, you know, I've been married for 25 years and I've got 2 children and 8 grandchildren, and I'm a nice person and please vote for me, and there's not a whole lot more substance that's on that little booklet. And people are actually making up their mind who they're voting on for that. We at the moment are working on a questionnaire that we want to send to everybody that's standing, and it's going to ask some of the tough questions about where do you stand, and you know, what things are you for and what things are you against. We're not 100% sure how many people are going to fully engage and answer the questions. The fact that we might get some people who don't want to answer where they stand might tell us the information we need, but we are going to try and present more information than we've ever had as to who you might like to vote for. So that's one of the ways we're going to go to try and go about helping you with who you might vote for.
This is a very, very important tool. And like you said, how do we know that we're going to be on the same plane? Because the questions that we're going to be asking are the ones that you want to ask. And it's the ones that some don't want to answer. Now, Sheridan touched on it, that some may not want to do it. That will be publicly put out there. X did not want to answer these questions. So you all know in your minds exactly what to do. The questions needs to be answered. That booklet does not answer the questions that you need answering. But this questionnaire will.
But as we found out already, even as part of our campaigning, dare I say it, I have to apologise by the bad language here, there are, you'll be quite surprised, there's some lying, scheming bastards. Now, I can't really put any more politely than that, but we've found out already questions about the cycleway. And we've been attending meetings for a long time on there, and now in close to election time, guess what? People are chopping and changing minds up to change their underpants. That's happening. I'm telling you, so you've got to be very, very careful about the questioning and about what people actually say. Now, can but on the, if any of you go up to the council website and follow the meetings of the minutes, what they've done is, unless they specify, they have the voting numbers, but they do not specify the names. You'll have something like 8 for or 4 against. And unless a particular councillor specifies as part of the voting, they will not know the name, and often you cannot tell who voted for what. Now,
that's actually a little bit different to that. That's actually a little bit different. How it actually works when it does come to the voting, it used to literally be that they'd say who voted for and who voted against. I'm not quite sure when it changed. Now, unless someone calls what's called a division to say they don't agree with what motion has been put forward, if a division is called, they actually say who votes for it and who votes against it. But apart from that, they mention nobody. And you would assume that everyone voted for it. But we're actually finding in some of the digging that we're doing that people haven't necessarily voted at all, and we have got some stories to come with a few things. So the councillors haven't necessarily voted on all the things that are actually happening. There's a hand down here.
So the association with the Taxpayers Union, is that a philosophical choice, or is there some practical benefit? Because it sounds like there's quite a few restraints on what you guys can do with what you're trying to achieve by not being able to directly endorse candidates. So I was wondering why. Really, the Taxpayers Union actually reaches 400,000 Kiwis, and we sit on the back of those 400,000 people. And we get information, and we share information. So it's a two-way street. But the thing is, I mean, we could have decided to do things differently. We could have decided maybe we will endorse people. To be honest, we don't know who these people that are standing. We don't know any better than you do. But all we can do is try and do a bit of researching, asking lots of questions. But we'd hate to endorse someone and find that we've made a dreadful, dreadful mistake. So we're happy to go with that taxpayers umbrella for the benefits it brings us, which is that big group of people and their expertise as well. So.
What you're about to oppose with that questionnaire, it's a good idea, but is that legal what you're about to do there? Is that what you're doing? Is that would be allowed to happen?
People can choose not to answer it. They're not forced to answer it. If it turns up in their inbox and they don't like the look of it and they just ignore it, then they can do that. Or they might choose to answer some of it and not the rest of it. So, and they'll have an explanation of what the survey is all about and how it's going to be used. So they do have the opportunity not to answer. But if you're running for council and you want people to give you, 1,500 to 2,500 votes, hopefully people are happy to tell you what they stand for. Yes, yeah. Just another thing, going back to a question there before as well, we were saying in terms of helping to understand who people are, part of the candidates meetings as well is asking they're not going to be fluffy questions, they're not going to be the debate fluffy thing, they're going to be some pretty straightforward questions. hopefully people are going to come and be happy to answer the questions. But yeah, we're sort of not looking at a debating format or anything like that. We really want to ask the questions that you guys want to ask.
I'll give you a brief example of a direct question at a forum. If you're thinking of changing the name of New Plymouth to Namutu, would you put it to a referendum?
Definitely.
Those are the questions,
Yes or no?
and see who ticks the boxes.
A lot of people don't know who the old candidates are, and they won't know who the new candidates are, or the old ones. So would it be possible to put on the voting forms that the existing candidates, to identify them, and to identify the ones that are standing for the first time, so that people know who not to vote for and who to vote for?
On our webpage, we are going to have all the candidates listed, but we are going to have the current councillors that are restanding and the new candidates that haven't been on before. So we will split them that way. We're also going to have some other information in there. I think I said before, I touched on the track record of the people that have been in council. We're doing a bit of work with that at the moment as to sort of what decisions people have made and how things have gone in the last 3 years. So hopefully that section will help people to look at who's been sitting, and not everybody that's in council is bad, you know. So it's hopefully that information will help people to understand who's better than others. We do, and look, you know, we're doing the best we can. We've been pushing, we've had some meetings to track people along to look at standing. We know, you know, we're still pushing at the moment. If people are not sure if they want to stand, we've still got messages out there ourselves to sort of say you've got till the closes on the 1st of August, but you need to apply about 3 days beforehand. But yeah, we're doing, and we've just recently done a deep dive through the internet to see who's actually looking at standing. We haven't yet translated into doing so, but we're trying to keep an eye on exactly who is out there and doing our best to bring that information to you if they actually stand.
Assuming you get the new 8 candidates, how are they going to pay back their 400 million plus that the council are going to get now?
That is another issue. I guess the only thing is that at least if you can get your 8 people in, hopefully you're stopping it and it's not going further, you know, and then you work out how you go backwards.
You're dead right, Sheridan, because when I spoke to the CEO a few weeks ago, I says, 5 years' time, our rates are going to double. And in 5 years' time, that 406 at the current rate they're going is going to be $1 billion. That's what we've got to stop. That's why we're standing here, and that's why you're there.
And no one will buy the houses because the rate's too high, so New Plymouth will be obsolete.
Every week.
And it's not just New Plymouth, it's happening in the whole country. So we're doing the best we can to come up with the information to help you guys decide. But a big part of this isn't just us giving you the information, it's also you guys sharing it with as many people as you can and waking as many people up as possible in gentle conversations, not arguing or anything, but just so that, you know, if we can get people to look at the information we're presenting, it should help for who's better to vote for than perhaps somebody else. That's what we're trying to do.
Finally. So, you've got these new candidate nights coming up. What happens if we can't make it? Are we going to get penalised for not fronting up, or can we have the questions and send them in to you? Because I'm actually on holiday then, unless you can make it another night.
We've got 2 nights.
Yeah, I know, I'm still on holiday.
On both of them. Okay, that is a very fair question. That is a very
Because I feel like I'm going to get penalised now.
Okay. No, I'm sure we can find some way of covering that off.
I'll read out the story.
You heard it here, folks. They said they'll find some way to get my story out. Thank you.
That's Debbie Hancock, who was running this year.
When voting takes place at the council chamber with the councillors around the table, how much say does the mayor have in that? Is everyone classed as equal, or has the mayor got more, or how does that work?
The voting is equal around the council table. It's the mayor's direction prior to anything going on the agenda or any motions that the councillors want to put that can be discussed at council whether he's going to accept them or not. So he's a director, he's the conductor of the orchestra.
Again, you can add to that. We've been tracking those men for a long, long time. And again, it's been along there, it's been entirely obvious that when it come down to voting and people are making submissions, you can tell that the decision's already been made. And again, I hear like Mr. Batman nodding away, he's been there too. We've all been along to lots, and a number of us made submissions in good faith, and it's just, they've gone through the motions of listening to us and not take any bloody notice whatsoever.
I think the question that was asked might be slightly different as well in terms of...
Okay, so the other aspect is, again, the Mayor can choose to refuse to accept notice of motion. The 15th of December last year, he took a motion from iwi and representatives to make a submission on the Treaty Principles Bill. 2 weeks prior to that, Pari Haka and iwi came in and asked to make a submission calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, again, absolutely nothing to do with this council whatsoever, but the Mayor did refuse to accept the notice of motion. He can actually do that.
I think also too, in relation to that question, is as councillors you can want to raise issues, but the Mayor can actually block that being brought up for discussion. I'd be quite right with that, Murray. So he really does control the agenda that goes on around the table. That, again, every Mayor's got their own personal style. So, you know, that's how the current one is doing things, and a different one might do it completely different. That is totally up to the Mayor.
Now, with the incumbents that are in there, are you going to list who's been having the most expenses?
Yes. Yep, we've got that information and we're looking forward to releasing it. Well, I'll have to say too, we were actually a bit surprised at some of what's there, so yeah, I think we'll be very interested to see some of it. It's very fresh information that we've just got.
So who is auditing the CEO? Who is actually the CEO as a KPI? He's responsible for the department's KPI. And who does that? Who checks
So start that question again, sorry, just...
Who is the CEO?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a KPI.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Who does that?
The Mayor actually employs a CEO, and that is the only employee he's got as a CEO, and his KPIs, I gather, are set by the Mayor.
Shouldn't that be by independent party done?
So shouldn't that be a...
Independent party for 3 people, for example?
Again, that's the system,
and
the system's pretty broken, but that's how the system works. Yeah.
Yes, so it's designed to be like that. So.
Well, again, how I counteract that situation, you get a new Mayor, he can, not straight away, but he can pick a new CEO, and he can have new KPIs, and he can run the place completely different and direct his one employee to run things very differently. And we would hope that's what we're heading into with a new Mayor.
So why don't the public or the ratepayers see the KPI published, transparent, so we know how it's been charged? Because in the present moment, we can see the CEO, which doesn't work for the ratepayers, because he thinks he should reduce the rates or keep it the minimum. That is one of the KPI questions in there, but he surely doesn't do it. So who gives the transparency to this?
I think in that situation it's highly likely the answer you get is that that's part of an employment agreement and it can't be shared, but the KPIs do affect the ratepayer. It's a question we could actually ask. We've never thought to ask it. Maybe it's a question we could ask, what are his KPIs? That would be a good thing to know. Yeah. Your key performance indicators. So the main things you've got to do once you get into a job, the main things that you need to deliver, and of course your bonus will be along with what those performance issues are.
Hello there. It's not so much a question, it's just, I just wanted to make a point, and people can add to it, but you'll be promoting through your website on Facebook now. Is that the only social media platform on the current?
Yep.
So through Facebook, and I'm sure that most people in this audience see those posts. most people will probably see me agree with me, is that we don't see all of them. So that's just an algorithm that runs. But my point I just wanted to raise is when we see things, we've got to share them. We've got to get it out there. And just liking it or thinking, oh, that was good, you know. We need to be more proactive in getting that message out, replicating it, spreading the word. That's all I really.
And then I touched on that when I spoke earlier in terms of the big stories we've had and we've got some big ones coming. When they come out, we say to people, please share it far and wide. And literally within 2 or 3 days, we've had 30,000 views of the stories we put out. So when we ask people to share it, they're doing it. When we get to the fact that the website's been upgraded and got more information, we'll be asking everyone to share it far and wide and try and get that as far as possible.
Yeah, good. The other part I'd like to mention is that if we all have friends and associates on those platforms, if you make a comment, then that's going to go out another. You know, so if we just like it, people might see it. If we make a comment, other people will see it.
I did look at some of the flyers.
Oh, did you? Thank you.
How effective was that?
Very effective.
Okay, so I noticed lots of people don't look at their letterbox from one year to the next.
Yes.
Because it's like full of spiders and all kinds of stuff in its mail, and then it's been chewed up by earwigs, and you know there's I don't know when they stopped delivering the phone book, but you know there's phone books in there. So quite a few of mine, I did mine on a rubbish day, which was really good, because people were in and out on the street, and I could actually talk to them and give them personally. And it was a fine day, it wasn't windy, so I folded them over and left a little bit poking out. So hopefully, I did have feedback from a couple of people I knew, and they said, oh yeah, we got that. And I said, oh, I put that in the box. But I just wondered what the response was from the actual in the letterboxes.
When we actually measured it, we did a trial run first. We actually came up with the idea for the wording that was going on the flyer. We were given 2,000 free flyers, and we targeted set areas around town where we thought people would be responsive. And we got an indication of what percentage response we should get. And we were more than double what they were expecting. But it's the topic, it's the fact that the council's a problem. It was also partly the areas that we targeted where the rates have gone up more so. But even when we then came to other areas that their rates increases haven't been as high, we still got a more than double response to the flyers going out. They've actually been, the company that printed them for us were actually really surprised with the response we got. So yeah, they've been very effective.
I guess Sheridan mentioned about the effectiveness of the flyers. One that real tickled my fancy was I was talking to Glenn McLean, who's the reporter for the Daily News, and he said, I got one of those in my letterbox. I said, good, it's working. He is coming around, but it's like Kerry mentioned the front page the other day, when I made the bold statement, they never put the qualification for the statement underneath it. But that's what you've got to expect when you're dealing with the media. So they can't not take notice of us now.
Where are they tonight?
Well, to be fair, we don't invite them. They do follow us right from the start. As a group, when we got together back last August, we had said that the media wouldn't be our friend and we have written some really tough articles, stories that have really called out the government system and the system here at the council. Not one media person has actually come back and said it's not true, but not one media person has actually reported on it. And an example of that is the local government funding agency, where basically ratepayers are the people that back up. If it fails, the ratepayers pay bills for everybody everywhere in the country. It's a shocking scheme for anyone to be signed up to, but that really should be front and centre in the newspaper to tell ratepayers that it's high risk and this shouldn't be happening, but they don't report on anything. But they've never ever picked us up on one thing being incorrect. Not yet. We try very hard, but they're not our friend. And it's the meeting last week for the headlines the next day. The protesters that were in the gallery. We've got to put the negative connotation into it. There's no point going back to them and saying we're not protesters or whatever. The people that were there, the people that are supporting us, know we're not protesters. We're just sticking up for our own rights. So.
Yeah, on the topic of flyers, do you have any dates for the next opportunities to hand them out, or maybe even the petitions or sign waving?
We've just signed off today on the content and just had the graphics put together, so it's about 3 weeks till they're printed. It'll be through August, and yeah, something like that in terms of when they're ready to go out. Yeah.
Mainstream media is still signed up to the government's payout. It came out October. They receiving money until 2026, so they're tied out. Well, at least, yeah. So they will never report anything controversial, as you would notice. So you than our
Yeah, yeah, same for us.
But anyway, thank you for that.
I have noticed in recent weeks that there seems to be a couple of alternative actual news Facebook pages starting up because there's a lack of that space of actually giving you real information and truth. And some of it may not necessarily be, it might be a little bit more assumptions than truth. One that I'm thinking of that I've recently looked at, but there looks like there's a few attempts at actually trying to do local media by local people and a bit more sort of factual. So also the facts we don't get to hear. And from the start, from my own perspective, where I've written stories, from my point of view, it's been we have investigated because we're doing OIAs, we're investigating, we're trying to get the facts, and then we're actually trying to tell like a news story. This affects you, this is how it affects you. We're trying to fill that void that isn't there. That's what we've been actually attempting to do.
I'll just add to that, some of you may know that, or may remember, like Neil Holdren used to be the editor of one of the midweek newspapers locally. Anybody remember that?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so he used to be the editor of one of the midweek one. So I believe he's got a fairly good relationship with the current editor. You can read into that what you would say in English.
I bet you can't.
I bet you can't.
You can't because the midweek's finished. I'm at Waitara and I have been to the community board meeting several times. I understand we also vote for those people on that. Will your Ratepayers Society Alliance have any input on who are the most appropriate members to be voted for at the community boards, of which there are quite a few across the board?
Yes. I just worked on that last week in terms of how many there are and how many you vote for and where you live and who you can vote for. So, yeah, there's a few. There's 20, I think, all up across the different regions of Taranaki. We've got a space to let people promote themselves from the community boards on our website. At this stage, I don't know how many people are actually indicating they're running for community boards. But whoever's running, we will attempt to contact them and give them a chance to promote themselves as well. So, but yeah, we're explaining how the board seats work in the community boards and how many people are actually voting on, depending on where you live and that sort of thing. We're trying to cover all that off for everybody as to how that all works. Yes, yeah, including me as well.
Any more questions? We really want to make sure that we're doing everything right for you guys, because we haven't got long to go, and this is, I just said the other night for a while, I said, look, if we didn't have an election coming up, where would we be? We'd be still bashing away, we'd be giving submissions to council, and they sit around there and just, that in Plea, a few weeks ago, there was a lady talking about the cycleway. What an amazing address she gave to council, and she may as not even done it. She may as well not have even done it, and I felt so bad for her. It was an amazing thing she said about everything. She said all the figures and everything. And no, you just walk out again and they take no notice. So this time, yeah, next time, our role is to get more around the table, let's face it. And voter apathy is a big one. We, as older citizens, barring the two down the front here, which is great to see you, we need to talk to our families. Our families are saying, who do we vote for? So you guys make the decisions. And even when in the rest home, they can't remember yesterday, you make the decisions. So if you've got parents in the rest home, you may be able to assist them. Because we're about to embark on a little journey, Pete and I, around the rest homes. Because I spoke to some people the other day that, in a village on a rest home, and they said, we don't pay rates. I said, yeah, right. It's in your corporate fees. So there's only one way they can go up. You know, but the rest home industry is coming to a stop at the moment. There's not the money around anymore. Well, okay. I would just like to, there's only one. Oh.
Sorry, can I just, you've got younger people here, I'm the Tech 5, I just use Facebook. But the different demographics, and we need to get to younger people, and they use Instagram and Snapchat and...
What's that? What's that?
I mean, if you guys can put it out on your page to see if you can get some young people to help. When I say young, I mean, I'm sure there's people my generation that know how to do it, but I'm certainly young.
The new technology's out today. I mean, our letterbox hardly gets anything in it. Nobody sends a bill anymore. It comes through the email system. So our emails are so strong up there, Sheridan, at the moment. How many are we sending out?
We're very close to 500 people on the list of us.
What happens when the pad is up? That's when the letterbox becomes wider.
You're right, it's like cash, isn't it? I'd just like to acknowledge Dean down the back who's doing our film for us. It's not going live, so we're going to edit it if you made a faux pas or if I did. And then we'll try and get it on if we put it out online. We've got one councillor in the room. Is there anything you'd like to say, Murray? You never stuck for a bloody word.
Come on, Murray. Come on, Murray.
You know, when we talk about not endorsing people, right? I'm not endorsing him, but yes, you don't have to. I just explained it. But there's one thing. He's always said to me, I told those buggers 5 years ago this was going to happen, and everything he said has come true.
Conspiracy theorist. He's on the outside.
The other one. And the other word he says is, they won't bloody listen to me. So if I'll give him 5 minutes.
You got any company let us over the road.
Yeah, no, so first of all, who hasn't signed the Tim Tam petition? Hands?
Everybody's got to sign it.
That's great. So not many, so everyone has. So we're up to probably about 4,500. We want 8,000. We've got 2 weeks to go. So if you think you can spend a bit of time and walk around the neighbourhood and get some signatures, the statistics are around 98% of people have answered the questions in a way that they don't want Tim Tams and they want them removed. 98%. No petition in the history of Taranaki has ever had that high percentage.
Thanks, Murray, for departing that wonderful information. It's like prizing something out of something else. The end result is going to be amazing, I can assure you. I'm not endorsing anyone, of course.
Just to the committee of the ratepayers, you've got Murray up there. Maybe you should have some of the new councillors that are in the room up there as well, that are going.
This is not that platform. That platform's coming up.
Yeah, and that's what next month is all about, is putting the people on the stage and giving them their chance to say anything, very much so.
Why Murray's up here is because the cycleways and the petition and a couple of other things he's running. Just a bit more information. Any more questions?
Thank you. Murray, I'm a broken record about the importance of the Mayor and that relationship with the CEO, because no one else has any influence, in my experience, with anybody within the administration other than the Mayor. And that's a really dangerous situation. So while I'm obsessed with it, can you shed some light for you as to how important that role is, as opposed with respect to having 8 around the table who are dealing with filtered information rather than that critical role to top of the Mayor?
Yeah, I believe, I've worked under 4 CEOs, and this CEO is the best. Okay? He can only do what the councillors advise him. So if there's a majority of councillors who want to spend, he's got to go to all the staff and say, go and spend money. Okay? If you have 8 people around the table saying, we need to put the brakes on, his job is to go and put the brakes on. But he is the most interactive and communicative CEO that I've ever experienced. So, and I must admit, for 13 years I voted against, and I think Horse was the only other one in the back there. Councillor McLeod voted against the CEO's wage increase, and this year was the first time in 12 years that he got unanimous support of his wage increase, because he's completely different than the other CEOs. So I didn't follow your trend this year. So just wait until you get a new mayor and see how the CEO acts. And I think the CEO, because he's young and he's new and he wants to make a stance, he can't wait to have a new mayor to try and, you know, do what the people want. But he can only do that if the majority of councillors back what the mayor's saying. You understand that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Does the CEO have any local government New Zealand affiliation?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they all do, unfortunately, but if we exit out of that, he won't be able to. He's a CEO, he works for us, so if we decide to stay in it, he has to be associated with it, once again. But if the mayor decides to get out, then he has to associate, he's not allowed to have anything to do with it.
Again, I have to disagree with you about the effectiveness of his job. We have, as you know, been around that table a long time, watching and listening.
Is there a question?
Yeah, the reality is I've been under 4, and I know you've only been following him, this is the 1. So you can't really compare someone, especially when you've got a majority of spenders around the table. We need to change that. So think twice about voting for any current councillor, apart from me. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, otherwise you'll get what happens last time. You'll get the same mayor and the same group of councillors, and the mayor goes, well, they all loved me last time, so I'll carry on spending.
Right, any more questions? One down here.
How do we make the mayor get out of the local government New Zealand thing? Because it's not good for the ratepayers.
No, we've got to wait for the new team on board. Yep.
Good.
As you can see, they are objecting. 82% of them voted not to do any capping today.
Ironically, I'd say 5 of the councillors are at the conference as we speak. In Christchurch, and I think that cost, I was probably about 20 grand to send them down there. Yeah. Wow.
Right. What was that comment down there? Should have been a one-way ticket, I heard. Okay, well, that's a good comment, actually, because if you want to make sure a few of them in there get a one-way ticket, then please talk to your families. Please work with us and give us any ideas that you have how we can keep promoting what we're doing. If we're not doing things right, if there's a better platform to do it on, then let us know. We're here for you. And I retired 2 years ago, but I'm busier than ever. So, there's a question down the back.
Thanks for the great night tonight, guys. I just want to say good luck to Harry on your retirement.
Yeah. Harry thinks I was very disrespectful. But never mind. I've upset him before, that's all right. There's a couple others, but I won't go into that now, that need to go as well. And we'll make sure it happens, won't we? Won't we? Yeah. We all vote. Yes. There's no more questions? Oh, yes, we've got one here. Hang on, just get the microphone in. It's on.
Hello. I just want to thank you all. Kevin, Linda, Sheridan and the whole team. This is a really great effort. And thank you very much for putting me back into helping us out with all this. It's really appreciated.
Thank you, Anne. She's been an amazing helper as well. As I said earlier, we got some people in the audience who are experts in their fields, and they're helping us as well. We've had some that said to us, look, we'll do what we can for you, but we don't want a name out there as well. So the information that comes in is amazing. People we work with in council still, and information comes back to us. So we dig when we can, but I will say one thing. Well, let me say two, but I'm going to say one. This Ratepayers Alliance would be nothing without Sheridan. So thank you very much for attending, and stay around and talk to the team. Yeah, and grab anything you want.
Go home and sign that poll.
Yep. Alex is our treasurer. You got anything to say, Alex?
I just think we want members. We really need a fighting fund. We're at the pointy end of this drive for change. Sorry, thanks, mate. We're at the pointy end of this drive for change. We really need membership. It's $25 a year to become a financial member. We are a proper society. We do have a constitution, and when we're done with this, we'll be working, Kevin and I will be working very hard to become an incorporated society. So it's only $25 a year. We would love you to become financial members, and it helps with our fighting fund because we're certainly going to need it. Thanks very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
You can take cash.